You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, everybody from Quasar Markets. Bigbeat, I'm back. Look, it's very simple. The markets are definitely sucking up a little bit because what they're trying to figure out now is which direction do we go. Yes, I get it. Tesla, mommy and daddy are fighting again. Looks like Elon Musk wants to go build his own political party. Runs off, not happy with playing the game, and takes his ball and walks off the court. Understandable, look, he had a lot to lose. He put a lot on the court during the campaign and did not get what he's asking for, which was the EV stuff. He wanted tax relief for millions of users, of people who wanted to buy electric vehicles. Did not get that tax credit. He said, look, there's a problem here. We are wasting way too much money in the government. Didn't get the Doge thing done. Also was saying that the new big beautiful bill literally will raise, and it does. It raises the amount of money that we will be indebted to other countries and also ourselves. So we're not on the path of prosperity anymore. So he's not happy about that. And so off we go. And now Tesla down. It looks like Tesla down to 295.07 now. Looking at down about 6.5%. Hasn't really moved a whole lot from there. I will be looking at that, taking advantage. As I always say, it's a mispricing of pricing. Is this so big of a deal that it's a problem? Well, it looks like that the people around Elon Musk are not happy either, including some of the investors. But we'll see. As Howard says all the time, don't fade the Musk. So be careful out there as we watch. Look, the one thing that I am saying, the markets are definitely overpriced. We are very, very overbought here. And I think if you listen to me on Friday, we talked about the whole thing in regards to the Buffett indicator. What is the Buffett indicator? That's the Wilshire 5000 divided by the GDP, and we are at the highest levels in history. Usually precedes two things: either recession or a massive market sell-off. And I think I talked about this before, that just because that we're overbought doesn't necessarily mean that kaboom, we're going to sell off immediately. And I've showed that on Friday, how it usually takes a couple of days to start that process, and then a couple of months to fulfill it, and then over a year to complete it. So it's not one of those things but it's one of those things where you keep trying to buy the dip, and that buy the dip mentality will eventually not work. And when it doesn't work, they'll take advantage of it. Now, what's interesting is when you see markets like this in that sell-off, that there's a little bit of a problem that in those sell-offs, people are very short. And what happens is people take advantage of that short. So some of the biggest run-ups to the upside happen in bad markets. Why? Because there's so many people short. It's a one-sided trade that the buyers take advantage of that, run it up, sell it off, and then down we go again. So be careful out there when you're looking at these markets. A lot of things going on this week. I think I talked about it. I posted a little bit about it. All of the different things that are going on. But I wanted to talk about one thing first, and that was the crack spread. As we talk about oil, right now, oil looks like we're looking at 67.16 a barrel, which OPEC once again said that they are going to cut about 500,000 barrels a day. That's quite a bit. 1 million barrels a day, that's a lot. That's 30 million barrels a day. So that's 15 million barrels a month. Should hold the markets up, right? No, they're going to put more out there in the market. They don't care. They're going to actually increase the number of barrels that are out there. So I did not expect that. I expected to slow down. Why? Because they need the money. There's a problem here. So they're okay with 67.14 a barrel. Why? Because of the crack spread. Now, the crack spread, what is that? That tells me the difference between what it takes to break that oil up into different things, like the diesel or to gasoline. And right now, it's roughly about $37 a barrel is what the profit on a barrel is right now. Is that enough for some? Yes, it is. It's great for Saudi Arabia, who just pumps it out of the ground. It's already there. It's pretty much laying on top. Is it good for those who pump it up out of the Gulf? No, it is not. Is it good for shale? No, it is not. $67 a barrel is pretty low. Is it good for North Sea Brent crude, which is going to get out of very high windy waterways in the middle of the North Sea Atlantic? No, it's not. It's very expensive. So this is not good. They know that. So because of that, they're a little concerned out there. All right. Keeping our eye here on Bitcoin. I'm missing Howard this morning. He's on vacation this week, but 108.3 now. We are holding here on Bitcoin. The word, the news now is that a massive let's say 3 or 4 wallets have been opened up that have not been opened up since the beginning of crypto. Now, I've said this from the get-go. I'm happy about this. A lot of people aren't happy about, this is lots and lots of Bitcoin. Well, they're being very careful with it. It looks like they're not going out there just dumping heavily. And it looks like Michael Saylor is buying. It looks like others these MicroStrategy. It looks like these investors are buying. Big institutions are buying. It looks like ETFs are buying. Yes, there's outflows going in, but they're not really enough. And what we're seeing is there's a little bit of parent, and that's what I wanted to see. All of these dormant accounts that been laying out there that haven't been used, good. But you've also seen accounts like the guy in England who lost his little chips. His USB, I think he had a USB cold wallet. That I think that what happened was he gave up, right? There's $700 million he gave up on. I don't know if I could give up on $700 million. That's kind of a lot of money to give up on, unless he has another reason for it. Okay, so with that being said, Bitcoin seems to be holding pretty steady, and I like this. If you're looking at other alternatives, look at silver at $36.31. It got over $37 an ounce over the weekend. I've said I still think so. 43 is still going to be the top. We're still going to go there. So we're not quite there yet, but the world is still in shambles. And we're also hearing some pretty interesting things that the president says, okay, it's not July the 9th. Okay, what is it? It's going to be August the 1st. All right, so now we know that that's when the new tariffs are going to go on everywhere if things don't get ironed out. We have not had many deals lately. I understand the White House is now going to start not doing deals like major countries, but maybe individual deals and things of that nature, instead of going bigger and bigger, maybe having smaller deals and getting them done piece by piece. That does put a little bit of pressure on the markets a little bit but we have seen an uptick, a big one, in tariff juice to the money. Lots of money coming into the United States government coffers, but not really enough to cover the problems because sales aren't nearly as high. I was looking the other day, I was watching commercials. Look, commercials tell you everything. If you're not watching TV and not watching commercials, they'll tell you everything. Like I said, just like gold, right? I was saying, how many gold commercials have you seen? Well, that means gold pretty much for the most part is at the highs, right? But also, if you look at it from the perspective of cars, automobiles, right? Automobiles right now, I just saw one for Nissan, 0% interest on 60 months. Oh my God, 5 years, 0% interest. That's really good. Why? In the commercial, it says, hey, we are not a part of this tariff thing. We build our cars right here in the United States. We can help you alleviate that by doing it here. Okay, well, great. But what's the problem there? The problem there is very simple. That what cars will be hit with tariffs, that's going to be the problem right now. All right, let's get to the markets. Let's get to some of these charts. I know people want to see charts. Over the last few weeks, I've been telling everybody to look back off of your charts. Your charts aren't telling you a lot. Right now, I'm pretty much telling you nothing, to be honest with you. If you're listening to people who are saying, oh, your charts tell you everything, the charts don't tell you everything. They tell you where the markets have been, and they give you a clue as to where those liquidity zones are right now. You can see here, I'll pull mine up a little bit. Here's the QQQ. I'm going to pull up a 1 hour chart so you guys can see. This is what I'm seeing. The 1 hour chart is telling you right now, not good. I expect to pull back. I expect to pull back to 548, somewhere around there, the first one. If not, if we get below that 544 handle here, you'll see it right about there. You'll see it all the way down to 535 and could go even farther. This is a 1 hour chart. If I pull up a 3 hour chart, why? Wall Street lives on 3 hours. There you go. Same situation. I'm seeing the same thing with that, right? But a little closer, a little bit of understanding. Right now, there's a big gap here that has not been filled between looks like 497 all the way down to 490. Can we get back to that's a 10% pullback? So if that's the case, then we're starting to see recession territory. We're not seeing it yet. These numbers in unemployment are still there, but this is what I'm seeing. Daily chart right now telling you We are way out of the boundaries here, and that's why I remember. For those of you who don't remember, I went long in this capitulation. As I've said before, sell-offs don't just happen overnight. It takes a little time. This is a daily chart. This took almost a month to sell off, but there was a day when the markets just capitulated. And capitulation is where people just get so scared, hits all the stops, cleans them all the way out, all the way down to go back up. We need to clean them out in order to go up, right? People say that all the time. Well, how do you know it's going to go higher? How do you know that was capitulation? Well, to me, that told me capitulation because there were spots where it did cover those gaps, right? There was a gap there that covered that gap. There's no gaps down here. The gaps have all been filled. You can see the gap here was filled. So nothing here that is showing it to me. So right now I'm saying, if you think about linear regression, if you think about pullbacks, which we should see here, then between here and here is where we should see that Fibonacci sequence pullback. I'm going to see if I can't pull you up a fib sequence here. Boom. Here we go. And I'll do that for you guys. There's your risk reward. Boom, boom. And this is what I'm seeing. So right there is where you are. If you put your sell in, and maybe I can overlay a fib wedge for you so you can see what I'm looking at. There you go. Fibonacci web. There you go. And so you can see here for me, if you pull back to the first handle here, right there's that first handle. There it is, 528. Again, you're seeing exactly what I said where we should see. That in this area right here, there is a gap here. This is where I kind of expect the markets to come back. That would put it there. If we start the process here, and I'm going to pull this wedge back a little bit and pull it up here for you guys to see. Oh, look at that. It's almost beautiful how much my charts do look better. If you're not seeing these kind of charts, turn those people off. I mean, they don't understand their charts. They can tell you, oh, look, this is where the pullback's going to happen, but they're not laying over the actual Fibonacci stuff. They're not actually laying over time-honored traditions, right? Oh, it's where the 200-day moving average. Well, most people on Wall Street don't use 200-day moving average. Did you know that? That's a retail situation. Most of them use 150. If you're using different types of things, let's look at this. Oh, I'll pull up one of my favorites, Andrew Pitchfork. Same thing. Look at there. I'm seeing it very now. When I tell people, oh, don't worry about your charts because quite frankly, it may not be quite all there. Look at that. This thing is telling you exactly where it's going. To be honest with you, right? And I agree with that. 539. So you've got about a 20-point pullback here, somewhere around there. 556 is where we're at now on the Qs, but Nasdaq pulling back again today. So where are we going with this? I'm not really seeing it to me. For Apple and these companies that are telling you what they're doing right now. Now, everybody's been asking me, Amazon. Today is tomorrow is the beginning of it. We're already seeing these deals. Prime Day is coming. I'm already seeing Prime Day. I've already made a couple of buys already. Little things that I needed, nothing crazy, right? So I'm looking at Prime, is Prime going to be as good as last year? I think the answer is yes. I think we are going to see people that are buying, that are looking for deals that haven't been buying. But you know what I've said all along is that AI is really taking over, and I'm hearing now that Amazon will probably have 0 employees in their warehouses within the next 3 to 5 years, probably even faster than that. So be careful out there as you see. As Amazon moves closer on AI. But I'm going to do it again for you. All right. So we're going to lay a pitchfork. Boom. And there it is. Now I want to pull up a monthly chart on Amazon so you guys can understand exactly what it is I'm seeing too. And I'm going to tighten it up just so you guys can see it. Just so you know, Peter Navarro, the trade rep, is now on CNBC right now. Peter Navarro, senior counsel for trade and manufacturing. He is not well liked in the White House, so we'll see how it goes. He's already getting grilled on CNBC. But again, same situation with Amazon. Looks like a little bit of a pullback here. Will there be enough sales? I don't know, but if not, it should push up 241. It isn't Qs, so we'll see if that helps. I think another one that people have been asking me about this morning was Apple. Obviously, Apple. What are we doing with Apple? I'm going to pull up a 1-hour chart on Apple because I think Apple has been giving you a much better, clearer picture. My bad. I'm going to go all the way back with Andrew's pitchfork so people can see what I'm talking about. There you go. And I'm going to lay it on the bottom, and I'm going to pull it up here. There you go. There's your tops to your bottoms. This is where it looks like it's going to. If you keep your linear regression, right, it's on steroids. This is telling me right now that Apple is broken out of it. There was a sell signal not too long ago to me, and that sell signal has not been turned around. Now you are seeing a little bit down here in the MACD, but not enough. Again, charts right now are in kind of a place where they're not really quite all there today. So I'm not still telling people, hey, relax on your charts. Don't get excited about your charts yet. I will tell you when I think the charts are going to come back, though. And of course, those of you who don't know, I've been charting since 99% of the charts are out there right now. I was using graph paper and pen. That's how old I was in the very beginning of this, when there wasn't technology like we have today, computers. I learned at the very beginning of all this how it all works. And as you all know, help write some of the software that you're all learning today. What I'm looking at now is the difference of how we get our charts and how we implement the charts, whether that's through. And of course, we're building a Quasar Markets, the AI side of charts, so you don't even have to do all the stuff that I'm doing today. We're going to show you that too soon, in about a couple of weeks here as well. But when you look at the markets as we are right now, it's not telling me anything specific. I need to see more data points. What data points am I looking at? Nope, it's not U.S. data points. Nope, it's not job numbers. Nope, I'm looking at global numbers. I'm looking at, well, let's just look at it. The news that we're hearing right now lately is that the United States, the dollar is having trouble. So I'm going to pull up a dollar. This is the worst start to the dollar in over 5 decades. That's right, 50 years. I wasn't even around when this thing got beaten up. And I'm going to pull some of these. I think I can show you. These are the numbers that I had seen. This is why you saw. It's why you heard from several people earlier about why they thought the markets were in dire straits when it comes to the currency market. Scott Bessent, was the Treasury Secretary of the United States, was grilled this morning on CNBC about the Dixie. We're having problems here, and he thinks that it's going to hold up a little bit here and push forward. Great, but China is still dumping the dollar here, and they're getting away from us. So I'm a little concerned about where the dollar is going. Could it continue to slip? You heard from Steve Flanagan saying yes, down here to 95, 94.50, which is way out of the numbers for us. Why is that? Because right there is where in the past, back in 2022, that was back in February, really got slaughtered. That's a technical term in Wall Street, by the way, slaughtered. We are about 10 minutes now, 12 minutes down to the open, but you can see right here. I'll pull up a little bit further here for you. There you go. You can see right here where it is holding in here. So if that's the case, that could be the problem. Now, it's NSASNY, right? Nissan. We can pull up the stocks. There you go. There you go. There goes NSANFF. There you go. Nissan Motor Company. We talked about that earlier today about they're not being under tariffs. If you like Nissan, if you like the car, this thing has been beaten up quite a bit. And to me, Nissan is a very interesting play. Now, for me, the volume here is very low, 26,000. So I'm not telling people to buy Nissan Motors. It's an OTC. But it is very cheap here. And if people are worried about tariffs, it's a very cheap play here. So this morning I started out talking about what? Automobiles, tariffs. Then I talked about the Dixie, the dollar, right? Then we talked about Tesla. So there's a theme going on here that people are looking at other alternatives to where I can start moving my money if the market's high, if the Qs are too high, if tech is what gets us out of problems. But right now, tech is really not comfortable right now, and it's very hard to see that. So where do you move money to now, Steve? Big Beat. We've been buying energy. Yep, you have, and so have I. I'm not in energy anymore. But I can tell you, there we go. We'll pull up Constellation Energy. Look at that. So here's where this is the weekly chart here. You can see CEG, Constellation Energy, down another 0.83%. Went up a little bit on Friday because it was a shortened day. But look here. Boom. Look at the sell-off here. Yeah. So is energy still the play for me? And the answer probably is going to be no. I think oil and gas and energy is going to have a pullback here as well, especially if people start losing their job. They won't need to put that air conditioner on as much. They won't have to need to do all those things. They're going to cut back on some things, including driving, including gasoline itself, and that's a problem. So why? Because that's what pays. I want to pull up BT. This is a Bitcoin here, right there, BTC. Same situation, 1082, still pushing higher. Money is flowing out of these normal investments and going into alternative energy and alternative investments. So this is what you're seeing. That's why I'm seeing it right here. I'm also going to pull up. There we go. Palantir. So I was asked on Palantir. Hey, remember when I was talking about it, $35 a share, and saying, look, I think Palantir is going to be a hot stock down here. Boom, there it is. But what happened? It's happened twice, not once, but twice. Right. This is what I'm saying to you. It's not a one-day thing. It's a weekly chart. So let me pull up a daily chart. Same thing happened, right? It didn't take one day to make it happen, the sell-off. It took several days before it ran up again. So here we are again. Will it continue to pull back? Yes, I think so. They're back to the 118, possibly back to 100 handle here. So be careful out there. Trump advisor Navarro says on 90-day deals, he says that I'm happy with progress we've had, according to the CNBC interview. I'll post that up here too as well. There you go. There you go. All right, continue to go on for a little bit. I'm going to pull up another one chart here that I've been following is Unity Software. This one I do like. I do like Unity. Why? Well, I was in Belfast last week, and I'm at the Belfast City Hall. Why is that a big deal? Because it's international. International money flowing into Unity. Why? Because they were building out a software piece for an AR VR piece that you could take your little iPad or your whatever you're wearing, your wearable, your watch or your phone, and you can actually see things on the walls. It was made by Unity. So Unity is still not stopping. I think their technology is still going. And you can see where they did very well not too long ago. Right now, is it going to have a pullback? Probably, because they've just had a nice run. You see what happens where it runs up. Usually comes back down. It has a nice big run up. Usually comes back down. We should see a little bit of a pullback today. We're already seeing a down 1%. But I do like this longer term. If you look at a monthly chart, there you go. Boom. I remember this when this came out at the very beginning. This is what happened. So those people on the inside have already taken their money. We're way past that. That happened back in 2021. So we are not seeing that. We could start to see a little bit of a push up. So if you look at a weekly chart, there you go. There's your buying signals already happening. Still happened. The buying signal happened about a few weeks ago. Looks back in May, in the middle of May, end of May, and pushed up. There you go. And here we are now. So we are in a little bit of a. There you go. Pull up a chart for you here. Show you what I mean by that. You can see here, if we get a breakout above here, then it'll be a continuing trend. Then we should see $31 a share. So keep your eye open here on this little run here. If it not, then we'll go back and test again down to here, 20. Now, why am I saying, hey, you show me all these charts, Big B, but why are you saying don't use your charts right now? Well, the reason I'm saying don't use your charts right now is because we still are living on tweet by Trump. We're still living on these things that right now we're not quite sure of. Why is it a big deal? Because we're already seeing it. Navarro's on TV. Basent was on TV on CNBC this morning. Why? Because they're worried about what the world thinks about the administration right now. Is the administration getting it done? Are they getting their tariffs done? And the answer, we don't know yet. We're 5 minutes away from the open here. So let's get a good feel for the open. Anybody have any questions out there? Anybody have any comments? Come bring them to me now. Oh, look at that. Numbers are moving up. Hey, I like that. Yes, you did. Well, I like that, Ron. I agree with that. You did buy Palantir with me at 35. So big win there for you guys. And I'll tell you that, look, I need when I talk about it all the time, I talk about clarity, right? That's the big word that I'm always looking for is clarity. Are you seeing clarity in the markets right now? Are you seeing that? Are you seeing, hey, I know where the market's going. If I can't see it clearly, I know you can't see it clearly, right? And what does that mean? Well, here's what we're seeing right now. Meme coins, these penny stocks are pushing around again. That should tell you everything. When you can't find alpha in the broader markets, now I'm maybe starting to get a little bit too technical here. The broader markets, meaning the Apples, the Qualcomms of the world, the Intels, the broader market, right? Then let's even go energy. We talked about energy, right? All the broader market, the S&P 500 helps you out. If you're not finding alpha in those companies, then where are you finding alpha? And they're looking at an alternative, right? Looking at Bitcoin, silver. They're trying to find things, and now they're moving over to meme coins. In fact, I'm reading the Wall Street Journal that this is the biggest meme coin time because they can't find alpha. What happens after the meme coin? Usually two things happen. Rug pulls and the markets. Markets come back down and you can't find alpha. That happened not once, twice, three times in the last year so far. And it happened during this last capitulation because they couldn't find alpha. They started selling everything off. The tariffs, Trump was alienating himself with the world, and all of a sudden the market came down and the capitulation happened. This is what I'm saying to people right now. And I do this, and remember, I'm like a broken record sometimes. I want to be the ticker taker, right? I want to be the person at the movie theater taking that shares when the exit looks like it's just about to fall apart. Meaning, when the market starts to fall apart and sells, I want to be there picking those shares up. Now, I'm not trying to catch a knife. I don't always do that. How do I do that? I buy a little bit at a time. As it goes out the door, I'll take your shares. You know what? I'll take your shares. I'll take your shares. And taking the shares. As the market goes up, like it did, guess what I'm going to do? Take that money. And guess where we're at? We're on the bottom. We're at the top, right? Could it go higher? Yeah, of course it can. But I'm not going full, what I call full boat. I'm not going full boat. I'm selling a little bit of time, selling a little bit of a time. I've already sold my shares. I'm talking about shorting now. That's how much I disagree with this market and the overbought that this market is. It's so overbought to me. It is still the old adage, my old adage that I created is called the mispricing of pricing. That's what this market is. It's mispriced. If you don't believe the markets are going higher, that's correct. That means the market is mispriced to you. If you think the market's going to go higher, you think the market is mispriced because you think the market's going to go higher. So you're buying. But I don't agree with that. Why would the risk reward is not to the upside right now. The risk reward is to the downside. There's more risk to going higher on an all-time high than it is to go in the bottom. Now, we're not at all-time highs in the Qs. I get all that. But I think if you look at the Buffett indicator, all this thing we're talking about is all working, right? We know that these things are working. So why not take a little profit, put it in your pocket, and go buy yourself a new Nintendo, Switch 2, whatever you want to do with it, and enjoy it. As we watch Tesla now down 7.65%. We're about a minute and a half now to the open. I really don't know what I'm going to do yet. I want to watch this market. I think I need to see a little bit of what? Clarity. That's what I need to see in this market before I make any moves. I am going to turn on my machines to be able to buy, but I have not made any purchases yet. So let me tell you, I will when I get to that, I will know pretty soon what I'm going to do. All right. And I am ready to go if I need to make some buys here. So I have not made any buys yet, but when I do, I will let you guys know. $108.4. Seeing a little bit of a pump here now in Bitcoin here. A little bit of a move. Oil pushing a little bit higher at 67.43. Still waiting on it. Silver really hasn't moved much, 36.35. So we're keeping there. Gold 33.11. Not really much of a move there either. So nothing really is telling me anything yet. I'm seeing NASDAQ still got about 50 seconds here to the open. 291.28. Still selling here on Tesla. Tesla could have a really rough day here this morning. We could watch Tesla a little bit here. $291.30 now on Tesla, so still slipping a bit. 21.40 here. All right, markets are opening here. 291.31 here on 291.33. Looks like no one's buying yet. The opening bell is coming up. And 291.23 now on Tesla. So nothing here is really 292.50 here. All right, on Tesla. 291.78, 292.15, 292.42. I think I'm going to pick some Tesla up because I think they might be buying that bottom down there. 292. Yes. Okay. So I did pick up. There we go. I picked some Tesla up there at the markets, and 294 now. $294.50, 69, $294.50. Some of those buyers there in there. $294.20. $293.61. $292.38. Okay, here we go. 291.40. 291 quarter. $291.50. Tick now down 328, trying to push back up here. Down 300, but are trying to push back up a bit. I am in Tesla at 292.56, by the way. 293.40. Might take a little bit of that off. We'll see. And that's what I mean by we're not really seeing a lot of yeah, there we go, 293 now on Tesla. We'll see if it can hold up here. Yep, slipping a little bit. Q still holding here a little bit. All right. Keeping our eye here on the VIX now, popping the VXX, which is the short term, now 48.25, pushing up a little bit here, up 1.45% here. And I'm picking up a little bit more Tesla down here under 291. We'll see if I can pick it up here. Yep. 290.90 where I'm in. Averaged in at 291.73. And I will hold that for a little bit. There we go. Done. All right. 291.60. There you go. That's why we buy. That's why you don't just go full boat on these things. It's why you buy a little bit of a time and you check. You try to catch those things. Not catching a knife. It's why you try to accumulate. All right. Bitcoin's still slipping a little bit here. Bank of Israel's governor Amr Yarn says that there are still both upside and downside risks. So be careful out there. We could see some more fighting going on. Tick is now about to go positive here on the day, down 56 now. Nasdaq dropping here a little bit. $292 now on Tesla. And it seems like the market's kind of chilled out a little bit here as it's open here. There you go, Tesla. And Tick now pushing here a little bit higher, here, down 250, but still trying to push to the upside here. Tick about to go positive here, only down 200 here. I am about to 292.62 now, 292.73, 297.70, 75, 71, 69, 74, 78, 87, 83, 77. Come on, Tesla. See, that's what I'm saying. It's not always just about looking for that quick play, but I think today could be an easy play here to the upside here. As some of these shorts start to melt off a bit. Tick still pushing higher here. Not liking the selling here now in Tesla, but maybe it's trying to test a bit. There we go. Quiet the morning here. Not much of a move here. 10-year now 4.389. So not really seeing a whole lot. Tick now still holding here a little bit. 291.50 now on Tesla. Crude 67.42. Still not moving. That's what I mean. There's really not going on. ADD, horrible. That's right. ADD. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Ron. How are you, man? How are you? Looks like Antonio Costa bought BULL again. I think that's the big meme play of the game. BULL. Talking about Tesla now on CNBC. Now Kramer's talking about it now. Continue seeing the NASDAQ continue to slip here a little bit here too. Yeah, that's right. It is. think that's the as a quote the meme plays. It seems like the Wall Street Bets teams are doing the same thing over there. So yeah. All right, here we go again. Tesla trying to push up again just a little bit here. Let's see if we can get that money out of there. There we go. 292.22, 292.09. Come on, let's get push up. And yeah, we're seeing the little bit of buying stepping in a little bit here. Tick about to go positive here on the day. So that will help the rest of the markets here. Silver is pushing up 36.43, just a wee bit here. Well, a lot of nervousness going on in the market right now. No one really knows what to do just yet. 1,000. Look at that. Big numbers of you guys watching the show this morning. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We are still going here as yeah, looks like we're seeing 108, 178 now on Bitcoin here. Can Bitcoin continue to push higher? That's the question mark right now. And I think the answer is yes. I think there's some selling out there with some new dormant wallets that were opened up. I think we talked about that. But we gotta continue to see the buying and strategy. Michael Saylor says he's gonna buy more. He keeps hinting at it, right? So let's see it. Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of buying coming down the queues, a little bit of buying coming in the markets now, a little bit as the bond market also is pushing up too as well. There you go, 292.52 now on Tesla. So if we can break 292.60 somewhere around there, Tesla could go right on up. And slipping a little bit. Oof. A little bit of selling now coming in. And tick now has gone positive on the day. There goes the tick, now up 44. So the overall broader market is pushing up a little bit here. So like to see that. As Bitcoin trying to hold above the 108 now. Bond market still pushing higher here. Those rates are pushing higher here, 4.371. That means that they need to raise those rates to attract money. So that means money's coming out of the bond market. So it has to go somewhere. Silver now pushing here again, 36.49 now. That's interesting. Could be coming as bond markets, as metals becoming the thing here. 15 minutes now, the top of the hour. Crude 67.43 now. Tick now dropping pretty heavy there on that. Look at that drop. Down 288 now. So the nervousness in the market's pretty high. It's really high right now. No one seems to want to push to buy. That's what I'm saying. Mispricing or pricing. Could be seeing the tops here. And I think a lot of this is totally based on the tariffs, right? If we get some clarity on the tariffs, I think we would be much better. But now pushing it off by another month has got people going, oh well, what do I do with that, right? So the question right now to me is where do we go with this now, right? Where are we seeing the markets now? Are we seeing this in a way that the president goes, okay, look, I'm going to give it one more month, but then that's it for me. That's my limit. Then if that's the case, then you know what the numbers are. And I think that's what you're seeing today, as you're seeing the markets pushing to the downside here. We got to hold 108 here on Bitcoin, but the VIX, the VXX of 48.29, trying to push up a little bit here. So that is putting a little bit of pressure on the markets right now. Tick down 126. We need to see that tick pushing back up if you want to see the markets go back up. But Tesla's the big one selling off today. Let's see if we can get her back up there. A little bit of a pop there. Tried it now. That's the second time they tried the downside this morning and didn't get it done. So if they can't push the downside, they got to go one way or the other. We're hearing reports now that the Trump administration will terminate temporary protected status for thousands of Hondurans and Nicaraguans. We'll put that here as well. That could affect farmers in the Midwest as well as in Texas and Florida, as those states need workers to work the field. So could be a problem there. Could keep our eye on orange juice here as well as the fields in Texas as well. And of course, Southern California is also another place. Why is that a problem? Because Hondurans and Nicaraguans come through Mexico to get to the States. So could be a problem for farmers. But the president said he was going to protect the farmers, so we'll see if that's the case. Seeing heavy call buy in there. Wall Street Jesus saying on METC there. Got about 12 minutes now at the top of the hour. It's kind of quiet in the markets today. I expected a little bit more of a push here, but money is still flowing into silver. As we talked about that this morning, now 36.55 now an ounce. So still pushing. Tesla slipping here now, 290 a handle. So we're keeping our eye on Tesla, seeing where the Trump, Elon Musk, tisk for tat is going on right now. We'll see. We'll see if they come together again. But Trump says that Elon's gone off the rails and Elon's starting a new political party. That could affect the richest person in the world against the president of the biggest country in the world, with GDP. So that's not a good situation for the United States to be in. Tech now up 148 now to the upside now. So we're still see some buying happening here. Maybe the shorts are going to cover a little bit, and we're going to go to the upside here. This could be where the buyers step in now against the sellers, because I think the sellers may be exhausted here a little bit. Tick now up 280, pushing higher. Tesla back 291 here. So be careful out there. Shorts do not have the grasp yet here. Again, to me, it's clarity, right? We're not seeing any clarity anywhere. News isn't coming out. The talking heads, us out there. We were seeing Scott Bessent, obviously, in Navarro. Up here, Navarro came out this morning, running around doing the talk shows, all kind of saying the same thing. Look, these deals are going to get done. We just need a little bit more time. Trump's giving you a little more time by August. All right, well, you have all the month of July, all the month of August. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, bond market. Look at that, 10-year, 4.371%. So that's a good sign for the stocks if they have to continue to push the rates up a little bit here, because that means they're trying to attract money to be invested. The higher the rates go up, then they want you to invest. So that means they have to push it up. So 291.06 now on Tesla. Hearing that more downpours in Texas now as rescues are still going out of here. I'm going to post that too. More downpours in Texas are definitely hearts are out to the people of Texas out there, as the National Weather Service has been cut back with cutbacks from Doge. That early warning system didn't really kind of play there. So might want to see some changes there in the National Weather Service, as tick now up almost 300 here. So we are seeing a little bit of a move here to the upside here. And we're seeing more push here in the markets here. The Nasdaq pushing a little bit. And the 108 handle here did hold on Bitcoin, 108.1 now. So that's a good sign for Bitcoin here. Still seeing some buyers stepping into the tech sector here a little bit. About 8 minutes now to the top of the hour. Former Russia's transportation minister, Roman Starovolt, died in apparent suicide, the country's investigative committee said in a statement on Monday. Still kind of quiet out there, as the market seemed to be just chilling out a wee bit here. $108.2 now on Bitcoin, as the markets are relaxing a little bit, and it seems like the sellers seem to be holding here and not selling it, as the tick is now up over 437 now to the upside. That's a positive sign. Tick is really strong here. Tesla not very strong here, as it's still down about 8% on the day. Kind of quiet here. I mean, the markets just seem very, very, very quiet. All right, about 5 minutes down the top of the hour here. Thoughts on BTBT? Let's get to that one. All right, let's do that. Ron's asking about BT. We'll go to that one here. It is as I've said earlier today, it is another one of those stocks, those penny stocks, popping here. And you know what's interesting here is that the volume is 48 million. Average volume is 26 million, right? So to me, it tells me that an insider did buy some shares here not too long ago. It is saying that there is now created a gap here. It could go up a little higher to about 389, possibly popped about $5 here. But this is a stock that, look, let's be honest, it's based on a few things, but there's still some insider money that had sold out back in 2021, 3 years ago. So let's see what it goes. But I'm not a big fan of this one. It could be one of those that just takes this pop, and you can see it happen in the past with a big pop happen or a big pop happen and then kind of pushed up a little bit. But in this case here, it's happened a few times. It could push on a little higher. If there's an escape route, boom, which means this big candle here, which we're not seeing yet, then that could say where the top is. So we could see a little higher than this. Tesla now sitting there now, still 288.94, so down 8.5% almost. Not a good day for Tesla today. You're welcome, Ron. All right, got about 3 minutes now, the top of the hour here. All right, keep it going here. Not seeing a whole lot else right now. Kind of quiet, very quiet. Thank you for all the views today. We're really pushing here on the views. Appreciate that, everybody out there. Yeah, 290.51 again. 108.5 now on Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin did hold down there like that a lot. So that's pretty good for us. One oh eight 108.518 now. So let's see if it can hold down here. At the 10 o'clock hour, it could be where all the sellers stop, and that's where the melt up begins. So we'll see that. I think here 21.30 now on Tesla as it tested that bottom once again at the bottom of that range. 21.50 now. So I'm still flat on the day, but still think we go higher. I think we pushed that bottom. The capitulation happened as the 10 o'clock hour. And I think a lot of people are getting out now. So not too concerned about it right now. I will keep my eye here on Tesla as we go. But here we are, 1 minute now into the top of that hour. And I am going to bring him in early because I do have a meeting today, and I'll let Steve Flanagan, Money Moves First, my man. Look, we had two people on this morning. How are you? I haven't seen you in over a week. I missed my brother. Two people on TV today, Scott Bessent and Peter Navarro, talking about dollar and trade, the two things you've been talking about for a long time. You said we will have a trade deals by July. Trump is agreeing with you. He said, I'm done. You get it done by August or we're going to raise the rates on you. And Scott Bessent said, most of the money that I made over my time, my 4-decade career, and was made in currency. So talk to me about what you're seeing right now.
Scott Bessent, the big currency guy, that's for sure. We know that he was a big part of the early 90s during the Soros taking out the Bank of England. So he knows currencies well. But, Steve, look at the dollar starting to turn here. The fiscal side is done. That was one of those big things out there we've been waiting on. And now, next up for the uncertainty that everybody uses is our trade front. And Besant talking about many agreements coming, several agreements in the next 48 hours. So, and then we've seen August 1st now. So we're definitely getting to the end where we're going to have much more clarity. But I think that the uncertainty is melting. And that means the clarity will be either we get trade deals or we're going to know exactly what the tariff levels are. So that lifts the cloud of uncertainty. And what do you know? I just read on Zero Hedge, native-born workers in that last employment report surged to a record high. On top of that, you had the U.S. stocks are now closed the gap on the outperformance that Europe has had. Well, lo and behold, U.S. equity funds have the strongest inflows at the week of July 2nd last week, with the London Stock Exchange, LSEG, reporting that 31.6 billion, largest weekly purchase of U.S. since November of 24. This is the turn that I've been saying. Now the machinery, the model machinery that balances these massive portfolios that have coverage everywhere in the world is beginning to say, whoa, we're underweight U.S., meaning not that they're underweight the U.S. market, that the hedges against the U.S. market need to begin to come off. And that's the move I've been waiting for. Last week, we had the dollar index close at 96.99. We're presently around the 97.30 level, so we're above it. Nice tight stop loss, get below 90 on the downside and bail out. But I think you have a couple of big figures to move on the upside. I'm looking for a retest of the 99.30.50 zone from here.
And you just saw a few seconds ago, United States second quarter GDP growth now, according to Atlanta Fed GDP forecast, coming out at 2.6%. Is this what we're talking about with the Fed saying, hey, look, we're not out of the woods yet. We still have inflation. It's still here. Is that what we're seeing?
I think so, Steve. But I think from the Fed point of view, look, I'm giving up kind of talking about they should lower rates. I think that's pretty much mainstream right now. I think they will. The United States is restrictive in its monetary policy. But I do think that the Fed is going to use any ammunition that they can, meaning we're still growing at 2%. I don't think that 2% is necessarily strong growth. Agreed. And I think that is exactly the mindset that I think has to get, away. 3-4% above is strong growth. But
you think China would be happy with 3% growth?
My goodness, Steve, right? I mean, China has to have over 5% growth, and they're, I believe, just under that now. So, they're in slow growth right now. But I think when you begin to look at the broader macro picture, the United States 3% plus growth is the goal. And I think that they will begin to grow their way out of the debt problem if we can hold the line on the debt levels. Then the debt to GDP ratio will shrink. That, I believe, is the master plan. And that's why I'm so pro the U.S. right here. I think that the United States will begin to outperform. The market is going to have to play catch up in the dollar positioning.
And for those of you who are playing at home with me, I just did sell my I just did sell my Tesla here, getting out at, it looks like 293. So for those of you who are playing at home, we won again. Congrats. All right, so I have to ask Steve, and make it as quick as I know you're busy today. But when You said that the bottom on the Dixie was right around 95, 94 and a half. You called that
That's
bottom
right.
correct. I mean, you've nailed this. You said, hey, people, listen up. This is where it's probably not going to go, but this is where the bottom is, and explain to this why.
Well, Steve, you need to look at that dollar and say, where are we in relation? Because the dollar's been free trading since 1971 when Bretton Woods and the gold window was closed by Nixon.
Yeah.
Where are we? We're back to levels that has been 2022. I mean, if we were to see the 94 level, okay, so we're going back to levels potentially, I mean, if you look at the broader picture, you could say that in 2014, the dollar index was at 79.80. So at this level here, is the dollar really weak? I mean, every headline you read, weakening dollar, weak. The dollar is back to levels of 2022. Is it weak?
But isn't China selling those dollars? I mean, you heard Xi Jinping over the weekend say we're selling U.S. dollars. We're getting out of Dixie.
I'm not worried about China selling dollars. I really am not, because when you look at the broader picture, China's dollars is a pinprick to the overall situation. Not a big deal here. Will it have a day-to-day influence on values and pricing? Yes. But is it in the bigger picture? $7.5 trillion trades in one day. I'm not thinking China's going to influence that type of marketplace. Sell their dollars. Where are you going to go? That's all I have to say. And the BRIC nations, after their comments, okay, what are you going to buy? The euro is the #1 offset to the dollar. Okay, there is no lender of last resort. Are you looking to put everything that you have, your savings, into a currency that has 20 plus member nations and can't make decisions? Okay, China's the next one up. Are you going to put your money in the renminbi, where we don't even know what the total debt situation of China is? Again, there is no depth in that market for you to put your life savings into. So it is the dollar by default. Over a period of the next 10 years, I do see that the dollar will begin to have some erosion in its reserve status, but not enough to influence my thinking today.
Okay. With that being said, Steve, I'll see you right back here on Wednesday, right? And give me a quick 1 second thought about the markets today and tomorrow. Do you feel do you feel like people are nervous right now?
Yes, people are nervous because one of the veils is up, the fiscal side. The other one now, everybody is focusing at the curtain over here going, what's behind the tariff curtain? What is the real picture? Bessent saying deals coming within 48 hours, that would be a positive. I look for buying the dip mentality today and tomorrow. I'm not jumping into the market here with any new positioning. I am still long of the dollar, as I just said, a very tight stop loss here in the dollar index around the 96.90 level. So I'm going to risk 30-ish points on the downside. And I think I have a couple of 100 points on the upside, as I believe we're going to see this continue to turn here.
To continue to turn. All right, Steve Langan, I'll see you right back here on Wednesday. Thanks for everything. We'll see you again.
Okay, have a good one.